What's up everybody, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing the 7 books of the Villain series by Serena Valentino. Now the 8th book, Cold Hearted, is not out yet. It comes out June 29th of 2021. So as of this filming, I have not read it yet. And it is not out yet, obviously. So what these books are basically backstories, and it kind of fills in the space as to what's happening in their movies, like their respective Disney movies. These books you have to read in order to understand what is going on. They somehow all intertwine and interconnect. There's a trio of sisters that actually cause some sort of mischief throughout all 7 books. All 6 books. The 7th one we'll get to. But they kind of weave the stories all together, and each sequence of events is connected to the next book. And okay, you know what I'm getting at. This is why I'm not good at book reports. Okay? So these are all young adult fantasy type books. They are Disney books. They're published by Disney Hyperion. And you can get them on Amazon, Walmart, Target, even Disney, shopdisney.com. So let's get on into it. The first book is Fairest of All, and it's the tale of the Wicked Queen. Now this came out in 2009. And it is the first book she has ever written in this series. Not ever, but just in this series. It is the prequel to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it tells how the queen became evil and the influence the magic mirror has on her and how she becomes evil. It starts out nice and sweet, and she really, really loves Snow in this book and her father. And she is so happy in the kingdom with both of them. And then the 3 sisters, the 3 odd sisters, which I mentioned before, Lucinda, Ruby, and Martha, come in, mischief happens, and somehow she turns evil. I really don't want to give away too much of these books, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna basically give you a quick, this is what happens, and that's that. So I gave this book a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this book. I actually read it twice. That's how much I enjoyed this book. You definitely want to read this first, because you're going to meet characters in this book that you're going to need to know later on. So there's that. The next book in the series is A Beast Within, The Tale of the Beauty's Prince. Now this one came out in 2014. Yes, it is quite a large jump, but this is the 2nd book in what was supposed to be a trilogy. We'll get into that later. It is the prequel to Beauty and the Beast, and it is from the point where the Beast ends up becoming the monster, and to when he is, if it makes any sense, from before he gets cursed up until when he turns into a monster, and then while Belle is in the castle. So that's kind of the timeline for this one. Beast and Gaston are actually best friends in this book. Yes, that blew my mind, just so you know. But Beast falls in love with a girl named Circe, even though I might be saying that wrong. But Gaston, I feel like Gaston got jealous, and he kind of told the Beast that she was a farmer. So the Beast, he did not want anything to do with her anymore. She wasn't of royal blood, so he dumped her. And then Circe is the one who dresses up as the Enchantress and puts the curse on him. But her sisters, Lucinda, Ruby, and Martha, they twist things around around and the events unfold. During this transition, everybody's turning into their respective objects as they are in the movie, and he is courting a girl named Princess Tulip, and you're gonna want to know her for future books. But he doesn't connect with her, and stuff happens, and then Beauty and the Beast happens. So, yeah. That one's a roller coaster if I've ever read one. But it was really good. I gave it 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 hearts. Hi, Nuggy. I gave it 4 out of 5 hearts. It was really good. It was a nice, refreshing taste on the Beast and his backstory. So the next book in this series, this was the book that was supposed to complete the series. It was originally supposed to be a trilogy series, but she kind of left this book off on a cliffhanger, and so I'm glad she continued. This one is Poor Unfortunate Souls, The Tale of the Sea Witch, and it came out in 2016. It is kind of the backstory of The Little Mermaid, but for Ursula and King Triton. It explains her past, her relationship with Triton, and her place in Atlantica as Triton's sister, which we all know. Yeah. The Odd Sisters make a deal with Ursula to kill Triton in order to have her help find their sister Circe, which you have to read the second book in order to know what happens to Circe. It's kind of a side story, a prequel side story to The Little Mermaid, if that makes any sense, because you're seeing a point of view of the story from the Odd Sisters' perspective, kind of about halfway through the book, and they get into a bunch of mischief, as they normally do, and the Odd Sisters are trying to keep Ariel from Eric, and Ursula's doing her thing, and it's just, I kind of didn't like this book as much. I gave it kind of a 3 out of 5, because it was jumping from one story to the next, to another plot, and I just kind of found it a little confusing. It was good, it was well written, and it was one of the shortest ones that I encountered. So yeah, give that book a try. If you love Ursula, you'll definitely want to read this book. The fourth book in this series is Mistress of All Evil, A Tale of the Dark Fairy. Now you'll be hearing references in the first 3 books to the Dark Fairy, and this is who they're referencing to. This book came out in 2017, and it is Maleficent's backstory from Sleeping Beauty. This story jumps back and forth between Maleficent's childhood, her teen years, and her adulthood around where she curses Aurora. It ends on a cliffhanger, just saying, like all the rest of the books, end on a cliffhanger. And this is where you start to see all the stories coming together. Maleficent is living with crows, so it's kind of like the movie, but not really. Not really. This part is where she lives with the crows. Yes. She lives with crows and was adopted by her nanny, which is in the previous book for Tulip. And this is where we find out Nanny's backstory. If you read Poor Unfortunate Souls, you'll know who Nanny is, and you'll get that backstory. Because she is Princess Tulip's nanny in the second book. Or no. Princess Tulip's nanny in the third book, Poor Unfortunate Souls. And she is kind of Maleficent's mother in this book. You learn that Nanny is the headmistress of a fairy academy where the 3 good witches, or 3 good fairies and fairy godmother are training as well. And Maleficent learns about herself, her powers, and and eventually leads her to curse Aurora. She finds the Odd Sisters to help solidify her curse so that nobody wakes her up. And then cliffhanger. If this makes any sense, I'm sorry. I don't know. I gave this one a 5 out of 5. I really liked this book. Not because Maleficent is one of my favorites, but because this story was so well weaved together and each connection was very well put in place. So, can I help you? Anyway, it felt like when you read the book, it feels like there's more to Maleficent than everybody sees and expects and knows. And her adoptive mother, Nanny, was right in her character judgment about Maleficent. 5th book. What? You're getting me all hair bubbaloo. Bye. Okay. The 5th book in this series is Mother Knows Best, A Tale of the Old Witch. And this is based off of Rapunzel, or Tangled, and it was published in 2018. It explains why Gothel is obsessed with the flower that Rapunzel's mother takes to feel better at the beginning of the movie. This is a tale of dark magic. Gothel has a mind of her own in this story, and she has two other sisters, and this one is really hard to explain because it was really good, and I don't want to give away a lot of it. So, okay. What I have written down here is, it's a tale of dark magic. She had a mind of her own, and it showed. It definitely showed in this book. And the Odd Sisters are trying to set things right in this book from previous books. Whether they fail or succeed, you're gonna have to read it and find out. But this book was really good. It was dark, but it tells you why Gothel is who she is and why she is. And it was intriguing. It was I found it very elaborate, but in a very good way, and a very easy to understand way. There's so much to this book, I really don't want to give it away. But I gave this book a 5 out of 5 as well. This one and Mistress of All Evil were 2 of my favorites. There's another one coming up, and that is this next one, The Odd Sisters, A Tale of 3 Witches. This came out in 2019, and it dives deeper into the story of who these odd witches are. Lucinda, Ruby, and Martha. They are known throughout the rest of the books as meddling into the lives of these villains, who aren't necessarily villains, but they're people in their own right. They are good people, not the witches, but the villains. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. These witches actually have a sister named Circe, which I've talked about before, and they are still trying to find Circe and bring her back to their side, which isn't working as well as they hoped. But in this book, you find out their backstory and the core to those sisters and who they are and what their life was like. And it is my favorite book. Out of all of these books, this one was my favorite, and it was my best read of February in 2021. I really liked this book because it wasn't in canon with the rest of the Disney stories. It was its own entity, but it had all these other characters brought in from the Disney world. And it was kind of like reading a movie or watching a movie I loved it so much. I was gonna read my review. I'm gonna read my review. Okay. This is my review of The Odd Sisters. Another good book in the Villain series. It was refreshing to learn about the Odd Sisters, especially since they aren't in the Disney canon. It entwined with all the stories together, but created a new one. But they left us on a cliffhanger again. They didn't make their choices ready for the next one. So, I'm still on this cliffhanger because the next book isn't in line with the rest of them. And now, the 7th book, which is the last book of the series right now, is Evil Thing, A Tale of a Devil Woman. And it is about Cruella de Vil and her upbringing. This was published in 2020, and it tells about her rise and fall. The Odd Sisters are missing in this book, which I'm quite okay with, but in this story you learn how Cruella is actually best friends with Anita. Her father dies and her mother is left to take care of her, but her mother wants nothing to do with her. She's wearing all this elaborate, fashionable stuff. It's a story about mothers and daughters, about friendship, about bonds, and the destructive desire to want something so bad that it turns wrong. This is my review for it. Such an end, for now, to an amazing series. I loved how it was written in Cruella's narrative, and you actually felt sorry for her. She idolized such a wretched human being and ended up alone. If only she had listened to everyone and kept to her father's wishes. Oh, Tulip and Popinjay were in this one. So, going back to the 2nd and 3rd books, Tulip and Popinjay are in this. But only as characters in her fairy tales. And her jade earrings that she always wears have a connection with the rest of the books. Now it's starting to really get things like props and stuff, like incorporating all of these books into one. Alright, so that is my review of the Villains books. I am so sorry that it was kind of choppy and whatever, because girl can't talk, as we know. But definitely give this series a try. It is an amazing series, and just breathing new life into these Disney villains that you never would have expected to have. Definitely, if you like reading more Disney books, click up here for the A Twisted Tales video that I did in review of those. I have read the other 2 books, the 2 new books of those that are out, and I will do a review on those sometime, eventually. I'm waiting for the new one to come out in September, so I might do a review of all 3 of those at the end of the year. But if you want, hit the subscribe button down below for more book reviews like this. I have a couple planned up my sleeve, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to remember to see the good and keep being brave. Bye, guys.